What's up, everybody? My name is Jared. I have a lot of new people here on my page, especially over the last few weeks, and I am absolutely blown away at the love and support from all of you. Some of you are here from my Ren reactions, some of you are here from Sleep Token, some of you are here from other things. And I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this dream of mine. Thank you for all the encouragement, all the love, and all the kindness. It means more to me than I will ever be able to put into words. I figured with so many new people here, I would give you guys a little bit of background and tell you a little bit more about myself. I am a multi-genre artist, musician, music producer, and audio engineer. I have been making music for well over 15 years in some way, shape, or form. I was a vocal major in college. I sang opera in college, but that wasn't really my cup of tea music-wise. I auditioned for the program with I Will Follow You Into the Dark by Death Cab for Cutie, and one of my final projects was a Rage Against the Machine song. And so I've always loved music. I grew up around music, and it's something that has been ingrained in me for a very, very long time. When I was in my teens and early 20s, I played in a lot of pop punk, pop, metal bands, and had the honor of being able to open up for some of my favorite bands on the planet and to play so many different cool venues and meet so many cool people along the way. But during that process, I lost myself. And at the age of 23, I found myself heavy in addiction to alcohol. And after having a pretty major knee surgery, found myself heavily addicted to opioids, oxycodone, narcotics, things of that sort. It sent me into a downward spiral where I eventually overdosed and ended up in rehab. While I was in rehab, I was diagnosed with a handful of mental illnesses, things that, for the most part, I didn't really know anything about. Some of it was stuff that I was diagnosed with as a child. I have been medicated for a good chunk of my life going back to grade school, but a lot of it was for the wrong reasons. And when I got out of rehab, I got clean. And this June actually will be 12 years of being sober. And that's something that I'm incredibly proud of, but it's something that's also been incredibly difficult. And with the mental illness and mental health struggles that I've had over the last, my whole life, but since getting the diagnosis over the last 10 years has been very, very challenging. For a long time, I walked away from music because I found that being in that environment, being in clubs and venues and being around people who were drinking and doing drugs, it just wasn't productive for what I was trying to do. In 2018, I kind of came back to music, and I came back to my first love, which is hip hop. The very first album that I ever owned for me was Illmatic from Nas. And so when I started making music again, I had a lot that I wanted to get off my chest, and that was the way to do it. But I didn't have the tools to be able to do the stuff myself. Back in 2018, having home recording studios was not nearly as common as it is now, and I didn't have the money to go out to studios and pay a bunch of people to do it. So I just started recording things into Audacity and doing the best that I could to mix them in a very unprofessional way, just to be able to put things out. But it started a journey for me where I wanted to learn how to do these things, and so I taught myself how to do them. I taught myself how to play guitar, how to play piano, how to play bass. All of the instruments that I've learned how to play over the years, I've taught myself. And along with teaching myself how to engineer and using very, very limited tools. Over that time, I started being able to upgrade the software that I was using, the equipment that I was using, and with that, upgrading the level and the quality of music that I make over the years. I started off making pretty much just hip hop because I was told, pick a lane and stay in it. So that's what I did. I listened to people that I trusted, people that were where I wanted to be in the music industry, and it didn't work for me because I love all kinds of music, and I felt like I was neutering myself by just making hip hop because I loved pop punk, I loved pop rock, I loved indie rock, I loved folk music, I loved acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, I loved metal, I loved hardcore, I loved so many different things, and I felt like I had the ability to make all of these things. So at one point I just kind of said fuck it, and I started doing that. It's been almost 7 years now since I started making music again in what I will call kind of the second chapter of my music career. And it's ended up being the best decision that I've ever made. And over the years, the amount of people that have encouraged me and have shown me so much love and support for choosing that path and deciding to make whatever I wanted to make when I wanted to make it was so freeing. And I never really thought about it as anything super special. I just thought about it as this is just me. And so that's what I did. And over the years, I've released a ton of music. A lot of music that I'm proud of, a lot of music that I look back on and cringe at. But there's been so much growth in that over that period of time. And music has always been my therapy, whether that's listening to it, creating it, writing it. It's been the one constant in my life through abuse and heartbreak and mental decline and burnout and so many horrible, awful things that I've experienced in my life. Music has been there for me. And I've always wanted to use that as a tool to be able to reach other people. And not in this like super holier than thou altruistic way, but in a real raw way. The pain and the suffering that I've felt in my life is something I would never wish on anybody. And I've always looked at it as if I have the ability to use my music in a way to make people feel less alone, then that's what I want to do. And over the years, I've realized that my story has resonated with people way more than I ever thought that it would. And although I may not necessarily be where I want to be in my career yet, I do know that the music that I've made over the years has touched people, has given people hope, and has made people feel less alone. The same way that the bands and the artists that I grew up on did that for me. My struggles with mental illness and mental health have shaped a lot of who I am. It's shaped my music. It's shaped my worldview and my perspective on life. And not always for the best. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I've done a lot of things that I'm not proud of. But one thing that I've always tried to stay consistent with is growth. If I mess up, if I do something that hurts somebody else, to try to make things right, to atone for that. I've always tried to see the good in people, even when there's not much good there. And I've been burned by that a lot. And there have been many, many times over the years where I have felt bitter and jaded and asked myself, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep trying to find the positive in people where there clearly is no positive. And something that I've learned is that that's not my problem. What other people do, how other people treat me, how other people have abused me and hurt me because I've trusted them, because I've tried to see the good in people, because I've forgiven people over and over again, and they've used that and manipulated that. That's not my fault. But I have learned a lot over the years, and that's something that primarily through my music, I have tried to relay that message of hope in a way that people can connect to and feel less alone. I've been alone for a lot of my life. Even when I wasn't physically alone, I was still alone. And I don't ever want anybody to feel that way. So I say all of that to say, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. And I don't just mean on my channel. I'm glad that you're here on this planet. You have value, you have worth, simply because you exist. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be something. The fact that you're here means that you have value. And if nobody has told you that before, I will gladly be the first. You are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. I really look forward to getting to know all of you, and I've been able to do a little bit of that already. It's been overwhelming, the amount of comments and the amount of feedback that I've gotten from you guys, but it's been so cool, and it's been something that I've needed more than I ever thought that I would. And so I just want to say thank you. And I'm so excited about not only the journey that I'm taking on this channel, but about the fact that I get to share that with all of you. I love you all. I thank you all. And I'll see you in my next video.